So let's imagine that we have two countries. One is named Bandaristan, one is named Motibalaland. And for simplicity's sake, in these two countries, there are only two things that can be produced phones and iPads. And it's one factory. It's very simple. You either produce phones or iPads. It's constant opportunity cost. That's why the PPC has these straight lines, as you can see here. Well, this one isn't so straight, but yeah, it's constant opportunity cost. Um, and in Badaristan, you can produce up to 90 phones or 30 iPads. And likewise in Motivala it's 100 phones or 100 iPads. So the first question I want to ask here is eventually we're going to engage in trade between these two countries. But the first question is, in what does Motivala land have an absolute advantage? Well, the answer is both, right? In both iPads and iPhones, the maximum amount that can be produced for Motivala land is greater than Bandaristan. It's 100 versus 90 or 30 and 100 versus 90 or 30. It's always greater, right? So Motivala land clearly has the absolute advantage. And by the way, I'm going to be asking questions. You should either pause the video, think about it yourself, or if you don't know, then listen to the answer. Um, and make sure it makes sense because this is definitely going to be fundamental to the rest of the course. So the next question is, in what does Bandaristan have a absolute advantage? So if Motibala land has the absolute in both, then clearly Bandari has an absolute in neither. Right? 90 is less than 100, 30 is less than 100. Okay. Now what we're going to do is calculate the opportunity costs. So in Bandaristan, you can produce, actually I'll do this with a text box, 30 iPads or 90 phones, right? So what is the opportunity cost of, and remember, this is constant opportunity cost. That's how it's always going to be on these trade terms questions. So what's the opportunity cost of producing one iPhone or one iPad in Bandaristan? Well, if you kind of do the marginal analysis and you divide, the idea is to get it to one iPad, right? So you divide both of these by 30 and you get one iPad, three phones. So the opportunity cost of producing one iPad in Bandaristan is three phones. Now, let's figure out the opportunity cost of a phone in Bandaristan. Again, you want to get the phone to 1, so you're going to divide by 90. So you're going to get 0.33 iPhone or iPads to one phone. So the opportunity cost of one phone is 1/3 of an iPad. That's Bandaristan. Let's go to Motivala land. You have 100 iPads to 100 phones. The opportunity cost of producing one iPad is just going to be one phone. And you can take a wild guess what the opportunity cost of one phone is going to be. It's going to be one iPhone or one iPad. Sorry, I'm getting iPads and iPhones confused. But you get the idea. So, like we mentioned, in trade terms, you're always going to be wanting, when you want to specialize, you're always going to be wanting to produce what has a lower opportunity cost. That is most efficient when you're specializing in what you're good at and getting the product that you're not good at from another country that produces the total most amount, right? Because if you're working on what you're not good at, you're probably not going to produce as high of an amount as if you specialize in what you are good at. That's the kind of intuitive thinking behind it. So let's do the comparison in terms of iPads. Who has a lower opportunity cost? Well, for Motivala land, it only costs one phone. For Bandaristan, it costs 3 phones. So clearly, Motivala land has a lower opportunity cost when it comes to producing iPads. Now let's look at what is it? Phones. So when you're producing one phone, this guy only loses a third of an iPad, whereas this guy loses a whole iPad. So clearly, Bandaristan has the comparative advantage in producing phones. Okay, now we know who's going to specialize in what. Motival Land is going to produce the iPads. Bandaristan is going to make the phones. So let's imagine